The man had just finished an MRI scan when he saw two masked assassins pointing guns at him outside the machine. He had no choice but to slowly raise his hands as instructed. As one of the assassins approached Reese, he suddenly launched a counterattack. Relying on his years of service in the Navy SEALs, he not only stabbed one assassin in the arm, but also managed to kill the other one. Reese grabbed the gun and chased after the second assassin, but by then, the person had already disappeared. When he instinctively checked the weapon, he was shocked to find that the gun he took from the assassin was actually the same one he had locked inside his home safe. Realizing something was wrong, Reese immediately drove home. On the way, he kept calling his wife, but no one answered. He had no choice but to call the police first. When he arrived home, everything seemed normal at first, but when he walked into the dining room, he saw the scene he dreaded the most: his wife and daughter lying in a pool of blood. The police soon arrived at Reese's home to investigate. Agent Hornfoth and a journalist went to inspect the hospital scene, but found no trace of a struggle, only the dead doctor's bloodstains. Hornfoth concluded that either someone had cleaned up the scene immediately, or Reese was mentally unstable and fabricated the whole incident. That night, the journalist brought the police report to Reese's house to reconfirm the details of the case. But Reese noticed something suspicious in the report, whether it was his teammate Boozer's suicide the day before, or today's emergency call after the incident. Agent Hornfoth was always the first on the scene. Normally, emergency calls should be handled by the local police. Why was a federal agent involved directly? Sensing something was wrong, Reese quickly placed the journalist's phone into a signal-blocking pouch and gave her a military-grade anti-tracking phone, telling her to contact him only through that device from now on. Late at night, unable to sleep, Reese opened his computer and began investigating the federal agent. One unintentional action made his heart race. Hornfoth's eyes were identical to those of the assassin at the hospital. Reese then broke into Hornfoth's house and stole all the data from his computer. After checking, he discovered that Hornfoth had secretly accessed his fingerprint records from the database. At that moment, Reese remembered if Hornfoth really was the assassin who escaped, he would definitely have a penetrating wound on his arm. That night, Reese broke into Hornfoth's house again, this time shoving a gun directly into his mouth. He ordered Hornfoth to raise his arm, but strangely, there was no wound. Reese was still convinced something was wrong. Under pressure, Hornfoth confessed everything.
Well, Agnew, he's the guy who pays me. That's his name. He gives me information. I get money in an account.
But then, Hornfoth suddenly launched a surprise attack. Reese staged the apartment to look like a suicide scene and left the place. He caught a glimpse of the black sedan in the mirror. It was following him, no doubt about it. He immediately reversed at full speed and crashed into it. After taking out the assassin who was following him, Reese found a folder on the passenger seat. When he opened it, he discovered it contained his classified files. He took the folder back to his car and handed it to the reporter. The reporter began to believe that Reese was truly the victim. Reese was once the leader of SEAL Team 7. His wife and daughter were killed as part of a conspiracy. To avenge his family, Reese launched his own investigation. He discovered that a man named Saul was involved. He asked his friend Ben to help monitor the target, while Reese prepared the tools he needed for the assassination. That day, Saul hosted a party at his home. After the party ended, while brushing his teeth, Saul suddenly heard music playing from the bedroom. Just as he was about to check it out, a plastic bag was pulled over his head. The intense suffocation caused him to pass out. When he regained consciousness, he found himself tied to a chair. Reese ripped off the cloth gag in his mouth. The guards outside remained completely unaware. Saul screamed until he was exhausted. Only then did Reese start interrogating him about the mastermind behind the plot. Saul told Reese that a billionaire named Steve was the one pulling the strings.
Project RD 4895.
He only knew the name of the secret project. Everything else, he claimed, was unknown to him. Reese then asked who had been sent to kill his family. Saul replied that it was a hitman from Mexico, hired by a lawyer named Marcus. After learning the truth, Reese took out a vial of poison. He injected it into Saul. Reese then sent the information he had obtained to the reporter, asking her to investigate further. Afterward, Reese grabbed his sniper rifle, preparing to eliminate the lawyer first. He arrived at a location along the lawyer's usual route and set up his rifle. After making a few adjustments, he aimed at a hill ahead. A Porsche was approaching. After taking the shot, he silently watched the car. The Porsche, due to inertia, flipped and rolled down the hillside. Reese went down to check the wreckage. From the driver's hand, he obtained information about the assassin and learned that the killer had returned to Mexico. Reese decided to head to Mexico for revenge.